because this issue of monotheism versus polytheism, or how many supernatural beings there are, is also an issue in the first century, so that even the monotheists are sort of polytheists, because there are other supernatural beings running around. The idea is you just don't worship them. Satan is a supernatural being. And when Jesus encounters Satan in that temptation narrative, the extended one that we have in Matthew and Luke, and he says, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world if you worship me. You don't wonder if is that a bona fide offer? Is he really in charge of them? In Colossians, when Paul talks about thrones and dominions and rulers and powers and all these things in heaven and earth, he's not talking about just the Roman emperor. He's talking about supernatural beings who were out there. There are passages, for example, in the Epistle to the Hebrews, which I have to tell my Christian students that Jews don't read, because the Epistle to the Hebrews is actually in the New Testament. The author has to go out of his way to explain that Jesus is not just a super duper angel. He's of a far superior quality. Why? Because some people thought he was a super duper angel, because angels they're floating around out there literally, and they're heavenly beings, and people, when they see them, might fall down in front of them as if they're worshiping them. So even in the first century, the world is replete with supernatural beings. And the question is, where does your loyalty go? Which one are you supposed to worship?
I have a colleague who has created a very clever term to help untangle this issue: qualitative versus quantitative monotheism. So really, in the case of both the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament, when we're talking about monotheism, we are really talking about qualitative monotheism. But, quantitative monotheism, we're not talking about quantitative monotheism, because these other supernatural beings are understood to have a real existence and some real power.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.